Cult of the Lamb is a recently released indie roguelike game wherein you play as the titular lamb. It is part dungeon crawler and part base builder, underpinned by some very interesting lore. So prepare to be indoctrinated into the old faith and beware of spoilers ahead, as we take a look into the story of Cult of the Lamb. Long before the events of the game, the old faith emerged, the combined religion of the 5 bishops. We learn from Haru that these 5 were only a few of the multitude of gods that once walked the lands of the old faith. What happened to these other deities is unknown, but the 5 bishops had controlled the lands for eons. The one who waits was known at this time by the name Narinda, and counted the other bishops as his siblings. For thousands of years, the 5 ruled in harmony. However, Narinda grew restless and wanted even more than the devotion of his followers and the power they gave him. Shimura admired their brother's ambition and wanted to support him. Shimura's domain was wisdom, and it was they who showed Narinda a world of new possibilities. This would be Narinda's downfall. Death is not meant to change, it is immutable. His desire to expand his domain ultimately became an existential threat to the old faith and the other bishops. So Shimura went to their siblings, Leshy, Heket, and Kalamar, for assistance, binding Narinda in his realm for eternity. This was not done without cost, and each of the bishops bare unhealing wounds from their engagement with Narinda. For Leshy, it was his eyes that were gouged out. Heket had her throat slit. Kalamar's ears were cut off, and Shimura's head split open. See no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, and think no evil. 1,000 years have now passed since Narinda was locked away, and in his exile he has called unknown numbers of champions to take up his red crown and free him from his chains. Each of the 4 chains is bound to the life force of one of his siblings, so in order to free him, each of the other bishops must die. Shimura in his wisdom was granted a prophecy. The vessel who would release Narinda would be a lamb, and so Shimura and the other bishops hunted down every lamb in the world, sacrificing them one by one to ensure that this prophecy would never come to pass. The titular lamb is the last to be sacrificed, and in doing so the bishops believe they have succeeded in preventing Narinda from ever escaping his realm. However, they have forgotten that Narinda is death itself, and in sacrificing the lamb, they have sent him directly to Narinda, and the one who waits need wait no more. The lamb enters the realm of the one who waits to see him chained in place, accompanied only by Baal and Aim, who we can infer are the beloved children of Fornius, who speaks of 2 kits, taken away as gifts for one that waits. The one who waits, having power over death, is able to resurrect the lamb and offers him a deal. He will bring the lamb back to life if he becomes his vessel. The lamb agrees and is resurrected to form their own cult in his name, build their power, and hunt down and eliminate the 4 bishops. The power of the one who waits is such that it does not matter how many times the lamb might be struck down while completing this task. The one who waits will always resurrect him. Upon the first resurrection, the lamb makes his way out of the sacrificial chamber and is greeted by Ratau, his predecessor in the line of champions, chosen by the one who waits. Ratau had been sent by the one who waits to guide the lamb out of the lands of the old faith and instruct him on forming and building a cult. On the way out of the lands of the old faith, the lamb comes across another poor soul about to be sacrificed to the bishops, and is encouraged by Ratau to rescue this creature and indoctrinate them into the cult of the lamb. Leaving the lands of the old faith, the lamb comes to the grounds of a ruined temple and is directed by Ratau to form his cult here, starting with this first rescued follower. Ratau tells the lamb that in order to build his cult, he will need to travel the lands of the old faith to gather gold and more followers. The one who waits has conjured openings to the realms of the 4 bishops that the lamb will unlock with the growing power of his cult. The first realm is Darkwoods, ruled by Leshy, the youngest of the 4 bishops. Leshy is an interesting character. The other bishops and the one who waits are representative of the 4 horsemen. Leshy, as the 5th bishop, doesn't fit in well with this narrative, but it appears to be a reference to a 5th horseman, as described in Terry Pratchett's Discworld. There the 5th horseman was Chaos. The achievement for besting Leshy without taking damage is Order. Similar achievements can be unlocked relating to the other bishops, or which serve as a counterpoint to the element they represent, suggesting that Leshy is in fact meant to be the horseman of Chaos. Leshy's appearance with his eyes covered in bandages is also reminiscent of the 5th horseman in the Binding of Isaac, Conquest. Leshy is also the name of an actual forest deity in Slavic mythology. Leshy is the weakest of the bishops, and is surprised to see the lamb has been resurrected. Leshy calls upon his most loyal followers to fight off the Lamb, but when they are unsuccessful, fights the Lamb himself and perishes, leaving behind the beating heart of a heretic. After the Lamb claims Leshy's heart, the first of the chains binding the one who waits breaks. The Lamb returns to his cult to build his strength before setting off to the second realm, Anura, ruled by Hecate. The Lamb again fights his way through this realm, being visited by Hecate during his travels. Hecate represents the horseman Famine, and has the power to cause starvation in the Lamb's followers. Hecate is also an Egyptian goddess of fertility, and in the Egyptian religion was also represented by a frog. Those who worship Hecate ask for her blessing to keep famine at bay, and to grant them bountiful harvests. If the Lamb defeats her undamaged, the Sate achievement unlocks. Following the defeat of Hecate, the second of the chains holding the one who waits breaks, and the Lamb moves to pursue the third bishop, Calamar, in the realm of Anchor Deep. Calamar is afraid of the power of the Red Crown, more than any of the other bishops. Calamar represents pestilence, and has the power to cause illness in the Lamb's followers. Followers of Calamar entreat him to keep sickness at bay, granting them health and long life. The special achievement for defeating Calamar without taking any damage is Cure. After defeating Calamar and cleaning up the consequences of its plague, the Lamb is able to confront the last of the 4 bishops, the wisest of them all, Shamura. Shamura's realm is Silk Cradle, and the Lamb sets off to defeat Shamura's followers, but finds himself also fighting his own. Shamura represents the horseman of war, and is able to twist the minds of the Lamb's followers, causing them to attack their own leader. The Lamb is forced to cut down their own followers before being able to confront Shamura and defeat them. The achievement for doing so without taking damage is that of peace. In doing so, the last of the chains is broken. The one who waits tells the Lamb to come to him through the gateway, and to lay down his life in the final sacrifice required to free him from his imprisonment. The Lamb calls upon his followers and uses the power of his cult to open the gateway and transport himself into the realm of the one who waits. There, the Lamb is given a choice. The Lamb can sacrifice himself in order to fulfill the prophecy and release the one who waits, in which case the Lamb dies and the game ends. Or, the Lamb can refuse to be sacrificed, at which point the one who waits attendants, Baal and Aim, will attack the Lamb in turn. Once these two are defeated, the one who waits will attack the Lamb himself, but after being brought to near death, transports them to a more hellish-looking place, where the one who waits sends his own eyes to fight the Lamb. Once defeated, the one who waits transforms into another small creature, and the Lamb has to choose whether to spare him or murder him. If the Lamb kills him, again the game ends, and the Lamb is free to return to their cult. If the one who waits is spared, then the Lamb will indoctrinate them into the cult of the Lamb, and he will become just another follower, albeit one who is immortal. The Lamb then continues with their cult, and that is where we leave him. What is to become of the Lamb and whether he does take the place of death is up to the imaginings of the player. What is known is that once the bishops are cleared from their respective realms, the beings who lived there become stronger and resume their struggle to assume power. Perhaps in time, more cults will form to challenge the cult of the Lamb. Let me know in the comments below what future you see for the Lamb, and please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.